for president! Okay, I'm going to come out and say it. I actually liked this movie. I liked it as a vampire story, but not as a pseudo-biographical Abraham Lincoln story. The Abraham Lincoln aspect of this, which is of course the whole gimmick of the movie, the whole storyline involving Abraham Lincoln unfortunately is very mediocre. And that is because on the one hand, Benjamin Walker, no offense, but he delivers a pretty mediocre performance, although he does still look good swinging an axe. And on the other hand, and I think this is what a lot of people are reacting towards, in the sense that I've seen a lot of reviews that are basically like, this movie is taking itself too seriously. And I think that is due to the fact that they tried to argue, the filmmakers tried to argue, that it is reasonable and sound for a vampire hunter to run for president. I understand that they needed to make some kind of transition from the absurd storyline that they had to the Abraham Lincoln that everybody's very familiar with, but that transition didn't really make any sense. Lincoln's motivation to run for president as a way to fight the vampires is not believable. It's not, it's silly to claim realism in a movie like this, but it's just like, from the point of view of character development and from the point of view of me rooting for this guy and me understanding his thought process and his decision making, it just made no sense the way that he reasoned that the best way to fight the vampires would be to run for president. And that's pretty much the biggest problem that I had with the movie, because I think the reason why I liked it in the end is that I really liked the vampires in this. My two favorite characters in this movie are vampires. My favorite character is Henry Sturgis, which is Lincoln's vampire mentor. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that face? Are you kidding me with that hair? Like, I don't know what's with these vampire dudes, but no matter what era they're from, their hair is always like perfectly coiffed. My second favorite character was the villain, the main villain, played by Rufus Sewell. I have been in love with Rufus Sewell for a long time, ever since I saw Dark City. And he plays such a good villain in this. You can tell that he loved playing a vampire villain. But at the same time, it's like when Adam is holding speeches and he's explaining his actions and his presence in the United States and the connections between slavery and vampirism, I actually believe it. Like, it actually makes sense. Like, when he is holding a speech that has some kind of political connotation, even the slightest, I actually believe him. But that's probably because of Rufus Sewell being such a good speaker or something. But yeah, basically Adam, the villain in this, he's the one that actually needed to run for president. I also heard a lot of people complain about the slow motion. Yes, I have to agree that there is too much slow motion in this movie. On the other hand, the thing that I liked about the action scenes is the fucking axe. I love it when action movies have characters that are based or are experts in any other kind of weapon than a firearm. I just think like a bow or a crossbow or an axe or a sword, like an actual weapon that is not a firearm, is like, it's 43% more manly than a gun. So all in all, I just really like the vampires in this. They did some very smart things with the vampires, with vampire mythology. There's this thing in this movie that makes, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's so good from a story perspective in regards to how the vampires relate to each other and deal with each other. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's just, I really liked certain elements of vampire culture as they were presented in this movie. All the human aspects were mediocre at best, but overall at the end of it, I have to say that I no matter what people say, I actually enjoyed this, but I cannot recommend it to anybody else but people that really like vampire stories. It's kind of like the steampunk version, though there's not a lot of steampunk in it per se, but it's almost like the steampunk version of Daybreakers, in the sense that it's a vampire story that tries to do something different, that tries to like find its place in the world, and as long as it's not Twilight, let's give it props for that.